Welcome to the show, everybody. This right here is the Farsi Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Wonderful to have you along for the ride and all that fun stuff. Phillies sucked last night. That game was terrible. Like it is a rarity. I must admit. Now, they lose, I'm upset. I mean, that's generally how it works. But I very rarely these days actually feel like the physical gut punch of an embarrassing, terrible baseball type loss. And that's what we and the other thing, a little bit of hope. 3 innings, you're up 3-0. You got your Cy Young candidate on the hill. He's crushing it this season. And then he balks in the 4th inning, throws a wild pitch, and then the wheels popped off the wagon. They just right off the wagon. It was so unbelievably terrible. Bryce Harper, I don't know what planet he was on last night in the field, but the attempt at a rundown, the cutting off the throw on the Nimmo RBI single didn't make any sense to me. And it didn't appear to make any sense to JT Realmuto either, who would put his hands up in the air like, what are we doing here? What's going on? Alec Boehm complaining about a shiny microphone in the outfield. I went back and I looked at the Nimmo single because that was the last time I remembered getting the behind home plate angle. And it was there. It was shiny and bright. It was there. And then I heard on NBC Sports Philly, Ricky Bowe mentioned that they went back to like 2017 and they could see, the shiny microphone, parabolic mics, we used to call them ears, out there in center field. So I can understand why it would be distracting, but it's been out there. People have dealt with this. If this has been the problem with the Phillies offense, then all right, then maybe now it would change at Citi Field. Nope, no hits. They got no hit by the bullpen. The Mets bullpen that had been terrible since the All-Star break, the Phillies couldn't get a hit off of them through 4 innings. Good times. Excuse me, 5 innings. It was absolutely terrible last night watching this game. And Jordan Romano just coming into this game when it was a three-run lead for the Mets, it just made you feel like, oh, okay, I guess we don't care about this one. I guess we're just going to let this one get away from us. And sure enough, they let it get away from them. 4 runs allowed by Jordan Romano coming on in relief. Yeah, it was. I don't understand what Jordan Romano is still doing on this team. I don't understand. I don't get it at all. Last year, if you remember last year, we talked about Taijuan Walker's season and whether or not he should still be pitching for the Phillies or whether or not they should DFA him. It was a very common argument people were having. Oh, you should DFA Taijuan Walker. That wasn't going to happen. $36 million still on, you're still on the hook for here. They were not DFAing Taijuan Walker. Now, my desire was they just shut him down and then try to, get whatever you can for him next year, being this year. And he's been great this year, especially as a starter. They didn't shut him down. They actually had him pitch late in September in a series against the Mets in a game he got shelled. So I was like, do you guys even want to win this division? And then last night, Jordan Romano comes into the game, and this is a situation where you absolutely DFA someone. I could understand Taijuan Walker, $36 million, not DFAing him. I can't understand Jordan Romano being as bad as he has been throughout the year, and only on a 1-year deal, mind you. I can't understand him still being on the roster August 26th. I don't get it. There has been no point this season where he could be reliable. He had a nice little stretch of about 5 games in like April or whatever it was. Other than that, terrible. Absolutely terrible. And I don't know how you don't DFA him and get him off this team. Last night, T-Mac, who I love, does a great job. But at one point, when Jordan Romano was giving up the home run, he gave up the 3-run home run to Torrens, who, by the way, it's his third home run of the year, so he's only 47 behind Cal Raleigh. So I get it. Anyway, Jordan Romano goes up there, he gives up the home run. And it's this balloons his ERA to, I think at the time it was 8.57 before he got the final, I think 2 outs of that inning. And that brought it down to 8.23. His ERA going into last night was at 7.56. Like, can you really balloon your ERA more? I mean, sure, you can always blow up the balloon a little bit more before you pop it and then you get DFA'd. He's in the month of August, by the way. Again, August 25th last night. In the month of August, he had a 16.20 ERA. For the season, 7.56. After last night, 8.23 season ERA. What are we doing? Do you expect us to take you seriously as a World Series contender? Which is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's probably what they think of themselves. Do you understand that we can't take you seriously if Jordan Romano is still pitching in games that matter first and foremost, and in games where you're only down 3 runs? This is what we're to believe. You're serious about what? You're serious about running? You're serious about this, and you're going to continue to run Jordan Romano out of the bullpen? You're serious about winning, though. This is real? You think you're going to win? Jordan Romano's in the game. Now, this whole loss isn't on Jordan Romano. My only point is that he shouldn't be on the team anymore. Christopher Sanchez absolutely got rattled after that balk. He said it messed with his rhythm. It wasn't an excuse. It's just kind of how he felt. Then they got a couple of bounces that didn't go their way, certainly. And that's not an excuse. This is not an excuse. Let me say again, the Phillies sucked last night. But Alec Boehm has to play at third base. It just goes over his mitt. That allows a couple of runs to score. Bryce Harper's head's in the clouds on 2 different plays last night. The offense, again, getting no hit after the 4th inning. Not great. Actually terrible. Embarrassing even, I'll use that term. The manager punting, basically, by just keeping – I honestly I had texts from 2 people last night. One was my dad. And he was like, why is Romano still in this game? I was like, still in this game? I don't – as far as I'm concerned, I want him to finish this game now. I don't want to burn anybody else's arm in the bullpen. But coming into the game was another text I got. And it was just like, I don't know. It's a 3-run game. And then afterwards, and you expected to hear this because I don't think Rob Thompson, I'll say this, I don't think Rob Thompson was like, ooh, when can I get Jordan Romano in this game? That's what this game needs. I think he was rather short-stabbed in availability, and he said as much after the game. But this game last night was just terrible. There's no way other to look at it. I was like, can Howie Roseman cut Jordan Romano today? Is that possible on roster cutdown day? I don't think there's anything overly exciting about cutdown day. I think who your quarterbacks are going to be now. With Sam Howell being here, your 1-2 punch. Kyle McCord getting the walking papers. I wouldn't be surprised if he wound up back on the Eagles practice squad. But I'm kind of interested to see the way the rest of this falls with cornerback position. That's what I'm still really interested in. Other than that, it's Uche and Azeez Ojulari to see what they do because they're thin at that position already. And then I'm interested to see the first official depth chart and just see exactly where Cooper DeJean fits in on all that. That's what I'm very curious about right now. Very, very curious about right now when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles and roster cut down day today. I can't get this horrible taste out of my mouth when it comes to the Phillies. It was absolutely terrible following that game last night. And again, one of the things that was really encouraging was that they showed no ill effects early on from being at Citi Field. A team, a place where they just got spanked last year at the end of the year, a place that they absolutely just got destroyed in the playoffs. They went up against Kodai Senga, who 2 years ago, had really dominated the Phillies with that forkball, and they couldn't figure it out. They were figuring it out last night. They were figuring it out beautifully against Kodai Senga. Get 3 runs in the first 3 innings of the game. You had 2 batters in. You had the triple from Turner, and then you had the ground out, the RBI ground out by Kyle Schwarber. So you're up 1-0 before Christopher Sanchez, your now ace, takes to the hill. They had a situation there in the second inning where they had an opportunity to do some damage, first and second, 1 out. Then Bader struck out and Stott lined out to right. It also got to a point as the game went on last night that the Phillies were hitting some really hard balls out into the outfield, like line drives. And if there was a chance that it would be in the gap or a chance that it would, bang off the wall or something like that, I just had this feeling, or go over the wall. I just had this feeling like that's going to die at the warning track, or that's going to die right in the mitt of Juan Soto or what have you. It was just a feeling of impending doom as that game went on. But before that happened, third inning, Phillies get a couple of runs there on the Alec Bohm 2-run single. 3-0 at that point. Now, this is the first kind of moment that made me think, wait, what are we doing? And I don't go against Dusty Wathan on this one because I do think Bohm would have been out. But the thing more so for me is how the hell he doesn't score on this play. Juan Soto is a cannon for an arm. We all know it. But this particular play here, after Bohm got on base with that 2-run single and go up 3-0, Brandon Marsh steps up and he ropes one into the right field corner. 2 outs, so Bohm's running on contact. And this is a little bit of a slow roller. So I think anybody that doesn't have a piano on their back is scoring on this. And Alec Bohm's like 6'5" or whatever. Like, take 3 giant steps and you're home. Come on. And he's rounding third base. I'm looking for Dusty Wathan and what his sign is, and he's nowhere to be found. I'm like, where the hell is Dusty Wathan go on this? What is he holding him up? Dusty Wathan was basically at home plate putting up the stop sign to Alec Bohm. So he had a good angle on everything there. And he told him to hold up. So he told him, how do you not score on this slow roller into the corner, 2 outs in the inning, and you're going on contact, obviously? So that was the first, like, oh, that doesn't seem wise, but okay. I mean, he probably would have been out anyway, but all right. Kepler comes up after that and flies out to center field. That was that. He hit the ball in the screws too, but he flew out to center field, even though he had second and third. That was another opportunity for the Phillies to tack on a couple more. They did it. They ended up going 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They didn't have runners in scoring position really late in this game, unfortunately, but in the early goings they did. And they did not capitalize on those opportunities. So then in the fourth inning, Phillies get a leadoff base runner. Bader gets the infield single, despite a hell of a play there from Francisco Lindor. Then Stott works the walkie out first and second, nobody out. Turner flies out to left. Schwarber grounds into the fielder's choice. Harper strikes out. This was an interesting thing Coda saying. 64-mile-per-hour curveball. He threw Harper a 64-mile-per-hour curveball. Harper put a violent swing through the zone on this one. And if he connects on it, that ball probably leaves Citi Field. If it was a 74-mile-per-hour curveball, then maybe Harper would have hit it. But 64, that bat was wrapped around his shoulders, and then maybe 3 seconds later, the ball finally crossed the plate. So I could get why he might be a little off rhythm when it comes to that particular pitch. But then he ends up striking out, and that ends the inning. So that wasn't great. Bottom of the fourth inning is when all hell broke loose. Soto leadoff single, but then they get the double play. You got 2 outs all of a sudden. This is great. Then Alonso gets the single to left. He faces Vientos there at that point. Christopher Sanchez does. He has a balk, and then he has a wild pitch. Vientos ends up taking him for an RBI double. Then you have Nimmo come up there with the RBI single to right field. This is the play that I don't understand with Bryce Harper. Vientos is at second base. They Nimmo singles into right field. Kepler does everything right, comes up firing, and on the overhead camera, Bryce Harper cuts this off, and I'm still waiting for Vientos to come into frame. Like, he's not even in the shot yet. And then I look at JT Realmuto is right where he's supposed to be. I'm like, did he cut that ball off prematurely? Should he have let that through? Now, if I'm a betting man, I'm betting that Vientos is safe at home anyway. But I'd like to see the play at the plate. And for those that asked, Nimmo's not getting to second base on that play. Nimmo stopped at first base. He was maybe 1 or 2 steps beyond first base. He's not taking second on the throw home, so that's not a concern. So Harper cuts it off. I look at JT. JT's got his hands up in the air like, why the hell did you cut that off, man? So that allows another run to score. So now it's a 3-2 ball game. Taylor steps up there. He works a walk. Then McNeil steps up. He gets the RBI single. It's now a 3-3 game. They get Torrens to fly out to right. And in total, 3-run score, 5 hits, and a balk and a wild pitch. So now you're up 3-0. Now it's 3-3. All right. You know what? A little bad inning there for Christopher Sanchez. All good after this, babe. All good after this. Nope. Allows another run to score on the RBI double by Vientos there to make it a 4-3 game. And this was another one that came back to bite the Phillies. Just like in the 4th inning when Christopher Sanchez balked and that led to everything falling apart, Christopher Sanchez gets the leadoff base runner or leadoff hitter with Francisco Lindor flying out to right field. He walks Soto, unfortunately. Then with Marte at the plate, Soto is picked off. He's dead to rights. Christopher Sanchez goes to pick him off at first. Soto takes off for second base. They have a classic rundown situation, a classic pickle. And Harper just basically eats the baseball. He runs Soto to second base and then doesn't throw the ball to Bryson Stott at second base until it's way too late. Stott drops the ball, but even if it's a clean catch, I don't think he makes the play. And now you got a runner in scoring position with 1 out. Great. After the game, Bryce Harper said, yeah, I just got to throw that ball earlier. Okay. At least we're all on the same page here. So Bryce Harper throws it late. You got a runner in scoring position. And yes, of course, he ends up coming around to score. You would have had the second out of the inning with nobody on base. 2 outs, nobody on. Instead, runner in scoring position, 1 out. Marte ends up working a walk. You have first and second, 1 out. Alonso strikes out. All right, seeing your way out of it. And then Vientos gets that double into right field to bring Marte in to score 4-3. Mets take the lead, and the Phillies would never grab it back. 6th inning, it's more now, I will say, I didn't mind Christopher Sanchez, who I think was at 88 pitches, 87 pitches. I didn't mind him coming out here in the 6th inning. But the second he gives up that double to Taylor, that's a wrap, folks. The second he gives up that double, that's a wrap. Go to the bullpen. He ended up getting McNeil on the, I think it was a ground out to, or no, flew out to Bryson Stott at second base. Stott made a great running grab into shallow right field. And then Torrens gets up there. He gets the 2-run double down the left field, or shooting the left center field on a changeup. And then Rob Thompson takes him out. I still don't understand. You have so you already had Christopher Sanchez struggling for 2 innings. It's questionable to bring him out in the 3rd. Some people want it. I would have said, hey, you have 1 more inning, go for it. Or should we bring him out in the 6th inning? But the second he finds trouble, like a runner in scoring position and nobody out, yes, see ya. In a 1-run ball game, get him out. So David Robertson goes in. He's able to, for the most part, get out of it. Unfortunately, he did give up the RBI single to Marte, so the run did come around to score. It felt like that was just inevitable with the way things were going with the Phillies last night. So now it's a 6-3 game. Phillies done. Torrens comes up, gets the home run off of Romano. 10-3 game, 10-3 game, and Joe Ross also sucked. In light of the Jordan Romano deal here, like Max Lazar, this is not a bang the drum for Max Lazar is amazing by any means. This is just, it's not Jordan Romano, who, again, for those that just joined us, has a, oh, actually, you know what? I didn't even look it up this morning. I meant to look it up earlier today, but he had a 16.20 ERA heading into last night's game. Jordan Romano now has an ERA of 20.77 in the month of August. And he's pitching in a Mets series? Not cool, man. So I'll update that number. 20.77 ERA in the month of August. He went into the last night's game with a 7.56 ERA. He came out with an 8.23 ERA. And this guy's pitching in a 3-run game. He's a mop-up guy at best if he's still going to be on this team. And again, I don't understand for the life of me why he is still on this baseball team. Taijuan Walker I get last year. This I don't. There's not $36 million, thank God, attached to Jordan Romano. About $8.5 million on a 1-year deal. And it's August. What are we doing? We're saving a month? People are like, well, it's the money. How? How is this about money when there's not a lot of money? How is this about money? What are you talking? Were you saving $2 million? Seriously? As one would expect, Rob Thompson after the game just didn't have it. One of the questions, actually, two reporters, actually, my man Bob Cooney was one of the reporters asking the question about, is there just something about Citi Field? Well, if there was something about Citi Field, you'd think it would hopefully change with the lights, the shine off the microphones in center field. Rob Thompson said that the ball was coming right out of that to the left-handed hitters, or should be left-handed pitchers. It was coming right out of that slot. What a gut punch of a loss last night. What a gut punch of a loss. They're back at it tonight, by the way. 7:10 start time again. This time we got Jesus Luzardo on the hill for the Phillies. He's going against Sean Manaea, who has really struggled this year. He's allowed at least 4 runs in his last 4 starts, each one of his last 4 starts. But, you know, he'll look incredible tonight against the Phillies, like he did in the playoffs last year. Now would be a good time for Kyle Schwarber to get hot, by the way. Now, if you guys are looking for a time, now's that time. Bryce Harper having his head in the game in the field, that'd be helpful. I'd like to see that. And the bats going the final 5 innings of that game without getting a hit. I've said it all along. The reason I'm not all that fazed by Zach Wheeler being shut down for 6 to 8 months, by the way, the reason I'm not all that fazed by it was because I was like never really worried about the starting pitching of this team. Like, I think you have a good starting staff. Without Zach Wheeler, you still have a really good starting staff. You have a phenomenal starting staff with Zach Wheeler. But the thing that was haunting me was not the starting pitching. The thing that was haunting me was whether or not the Phillies are actually going to hit in the postseason. That's the scary part. And never seeing Jordan Romano again. That's also scary. Jordan Romano, for me, has become like the Craig Kimbrell. Like in the 2 years ago when the Phillies lost to the Diamondbacks, it was like, do not put Craig Kimbrell in this game. Do not put him in this game. Oh, you lost. Shocking. But also the Phillies' bats dried up as well. So Phillies got a hit. They got to out-hit. You get an opportunity to jump on a guy like Kodai Senga who's struggling. You have an opportunity to hit against a struggling bullpen for 5 innings and you can't do it. That's pathetic. It's the same concern I have with this Phillies team. It's whether or not they are going to hit. They got to Senga. They couldn't get to the bullpen. Please get to Manaea. Please get to Manaea tonight. Don't lose this series. Still give me hope. Give me hope for Game 3 Wednesday night. But Game 2 tonight, at Citi Field. Good times. I lied. Terrible times. Can you tell this one's really got me down today? This one has really got me down today. If there's a guy I'm rooting for with Howie Roseman here to be able to make the playoffs. Oh, geez, how dare I? Wait, there was one more thing on Bryce Harper. We're all not okay with the Mets colors, right? With the orange batting gloves and the Mets blue spikes. We're not okay with that, right? Like nobody thinks that was fun. Nobody thinks that was funny, right? Nobody saw that and went, "Oh, that Bryce. Oh man, I love that guy." Nobody thought that, right? I love Bryce Harper. That's stupid. Apparently, he's got a rivalry collection. I would like to not ever see it again. Wearing another team's colors is gross to me. That's just gross. Especially the Mets. Especially wearing them at Citi Field where they own your ass. Okay? Now, if the Phillies would have won 13-3, then it's not even a talking point. It's a little still strange, but it doesn't piss me off. This failed troll attempt, that sucks. One last thing on what sucked last night. All right, so I mentioned Bryce Harper's attire. I mentioned Jordan Romano. I mentioned Christopher Sanchez after the balk. I mentioned the Phillies offense in general. Scott Berry, on 2 days removed from the 15th anniversary of his hissy fit with Ryan Howard, I don't blame Ryan Howard at all, by the way, for losing his mind. And I was in that locker. I was in that clubhouse the day after that. And I asked Ryan, I said, hey, can I ask him one question about that Scott Berry thing? And he was like, no, man, I got to bury that. See ya. That was it. I don't blame Ryan Howard at all for the way he acted in that. But I think I'd be just pissed if you got rung up. And it was the 14th inning. I just remembered it was late in the game. But anyway, Ryan Howard got thrown out of the game 15 years ago by Scott Berry, who was the third base umpire. He said Ryan Howard offered one pitch. Ryan Howard didn't think he did. He thought he checked his swing. It looked like he swung on that one, but he was pissed. And he kind of like gave a little head tilt and put his hands on his hips and looked at Scott Berry. And then Scott Berry did the same thing back to Ryan Howard to like mock Ryan Howard. And then I think on the next one, Scott Berry tossed him. And on that one, Ryan Howard clearly didn't swing. But Scott Berry rung him up and then threw him out of the game. And then Ryan Howard's like, I'm going to get my money's worth. I'm going to get thrown out of this game. And I remember, I forget who the home plate umpire was. I'm blanking on it. But he basically yells at him like, don't you dare come over to me. Don't you dare come over to me. And then he goes up and he starts yelling at Scott Berry. It was like the most angry you've ever seen Ryan Howard. And Scott Berry, I said the next morning, I remember I was on the morning show at the time at WIP, and I said, and I stand by this, Scott Berry was a rookie umpire that year, and he got tired and cranky. It was past somebody's bedtime, and he just wasn't having it. And that, as an official in any sport, and I was a 10-year basketball referee, you can't have that. People are tugging at you. People are gnawing at you. You can't let that get to you. And I know I wasn't at the big league level, okay, like this guy, Scott Berry, but it's a code and you can't break it. And he broke it terribly. He was behind the plate last night. I don't think that he holds any grudge over these 15 years to the Phillies or anything. I just think he's bad at his job. And he really makes me eager for the challenge system next year. But the reason I bring it up again is because he was all over the place with the strike zone last night. And there was one particular pitch, and it was on a Bryce Harper at bat, as a matter of fact, in the 7th inning. Phillies, right before, it was a 3-run lead for the Mets. Nobody's on base. Bryce Harper's at the plate. He gets a 2-2 sweeper that looked like it was about 6 inches above the strike zone, and Bryce Harper goes down looking. That, too, was not fun. That, too, sucked big time. All right. Now to the Eagles. There's one guy that I'm looking at that I'm really hoping makes this team today, and that's Perry Nickerson. I think if you're playing in the third game of the preseason, then you really got to show something. You know, it's your last chance to show something. Better show it. And I thought he showed it. I thought he was physical. His interception was an absolute baller interception. He is the type of guy that I would think Vic Fangio would very much want to have in his secondary, especially with as tight a race it's been with maybe other corners not named Keely Ringo. I would think you'd want him around. Eli Ricks being cut yesterday obviously adds to the idea that Perry Nickerson could be on this roster. The other is Darius Cooper. I am very interested to see what he could do on this Eagles offense this year if he gets an opportunity to play, because his hands look great. Seems to be a heady player. He's most likely, if anything, headed to the practice squad. I'd love to see him out there getting an opportunity for the Eagles. Somebody might pick him up. We'll see how that falls into play, but I'd like to see him get an opportunity. Another guy that I'd like to see get an opportunity for this Eagles team is Andre Sam. I talked about him yesterday as a guy that threw his weight around, a guy that was physical, and it kind of goes to the same theory as Perry Nickerson, where you're talking about a position that seems to be pretty tight between Sidney Brown, Drew Makuba, and you need another safety. Tristan McCollum had a good preseason as well. Really good final preseason game. You have guys here with an opportunity to close that gap a little bit even more when it comes to the competition at the safety position. I'd love to see him get an opportunity to play as well. I'm still eagerly waiting an announcement of Justin Simmons joining the fray here. But obviously, with each passing day, it grows more unlikely. Very curious to see how the rest of the day plays out for the Eagles. E.J. Jenkins, the tight end, I thought he played really well last preseason. I thought he played okay. Didn't get as much of an opportunity. He wasn't exactly playing with the highest caliber of quarterback or offensive line for that matter. But I'd love to see he got cut yesterday. Wouldn't mind seeing him back with this team. I think the guy can just play. And if there's an opportunity here, as there's been in years past with Dallas Goedert as your tight end, you're going to need more tight ends. So I'd be interested to see if he does stick around as well. But yeah, we'll get it today. I think 4:00. Final rosters will be in. But one of the more intriguing things with this team is when you see the depth chart for the first time, how often will you see the name Cooper DeJean at various roles? Let me tell you about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Want to go to the game, the concert, the comedy show? Download the Game Time app. Create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's phlsportsnation.com. And let's not forget about Sky Motorcars, skymotorcars.com. Check out Brett's amazing inventory at skymotorcars.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how you guys are doing on this fine Tuesday morning. Dev, what's up, Dev? Good morning. Final cut down. Same old Phillies, says Sean Gillespie. By the way, good morning. Oh, Sean Kilrain, good morning. Mets had that game circled on their calendar. Yeah, it certainly felt like it. The other thing that really bothers you is like the Mets haven't been playing good baseball. Their bullpen's been atrocious, and you made them feel great about everything last night. You made them feel like they still had your number. Phillies won the last series, by the way. They got swept by the Mets in the first meeting. Then the Phillies won that series, 2-1. And the Mets had been struggling. So you have an opportunity to, really take their hopes and dreams. You have a 3-0 lead, and you allow 13 unanswered runs. If you're the Mets, you look at the Phillies right now like, they don't have it. Not against us. They're up 7 games in the division going into yesterday's game, and they immediately gave them one right back. Look, you still have an opportunity here, obviously, to win the series, but confidence is low right now in Philadelphia. Kyle Schwarber's going to have to break out something terrible, but here's the deal. It's unfortunately, and I can get this against the Mets. I don't get this against the Nationals, but it's a situation where you're looking at the team across the way there, that you're looking at the Mets, and it's like even if you're up 6-0 in like the third or fourth inning, you still feel like the Mets can come back on you. And guess what? The Mets feel like they can still come back on you. DK was just saying, good morning, Sean. So there you go. Sean Kilrain, Little Dicky, a.k.a. Jordan Romano. How about the fresh cut he got last night? Now has an 823 in 42 2/3 innings. The highest mark for a Phillies pitcher since Reggie Grabowski, who had a 9.23 ERA in 1934. Good God. I saw something last night. Was it from Foley? About the highest ERA was Brad Lidge in 09. Man, that fell apart quick, unfortunately. Highest ERA, Brad Lidge in 09, but now Jordan Romano is looking like he's going to top that. Danny, good morning. Chip Tooth Eagle, hilarious. Farzy, you the man? No, Chip, you the man. Sean Gillespie, Romano is only on the team because your impression is Farzy. I would love that if David Dombrowski's like, well, we got to keep him on the team. I just like when Farzetta makes fun of my pick. Dave Dombrowski, noted, avid Farzy show viewer and listener. I think he watches the show and then listens to it. It's amazing. But yeah, it's terrible. It's pretty terrible. Both my impression and Jordan Romano's performance. Jason A, good morning. It's T-Bro. What's up, T-Bro? Romano cut his hair wrong. Should have gone with the Ricky Vaughn or 3 Spiriani buzz cut. Or the Spiriani buzz cut. I like it. I had that same thought last night, T-Bro. I had the thought of new haircut, same dead arm. Sean Gillespie, hello. Phillies are only contending for another early playoff exit. I agree. April. Good morning, April. I've seen home run derby pitchers with better ERAs. Fair, says Mr. Sandman. Phillies game last night was total crap. Thank you, April. I concur. Takeem, hey. Kensad, God bless. We need our edge guy, cornerback, and safety. We got a quarterback, a receiver. What do they know? What do they know that I can't see? We can't see a championship. I can still see a championship. Because one of the things I am thinking about with this defense, and I've said many times with you guys, I have a lot of questions about what this defense can do and all that. But when it comes to Vic Fangio, there is a trust there. And one of the big things, one of the big questions I have is Jahad Campbell. Everything has been right. Him coming back from injury, him being ready for training camp, didn't see that coming. Him playing well in his limited preseason roles or snaps, other than injury, everything has been right. You're hearing all the good things, all the things you want to hear about a first round pick. You're hearing about, the work in the on the field, the work off the field, the work in the weight room, his attitude around the guys. Jalen Hurts has sung his praises. Talked about you could feel his presence out there on the field. Everything's great. Now I just want to see it in a game. I would love to have some kind of like Zach Baun type game from Jahad Campbell, where Zach Baun went into Brazil against the Packers. Like, oh damn, this guy can play. And then I want to see that, but I want to see that from Jahad Campbell, being that he's going to be in the Nakobe Dean role. I'd love to see him just unleashed. I'd love to see that. You know what I'd like to see him as? I'll tell you what I'd like to really see him as.
Like a predator with some ice skates running through the grass.
Cam, thank you, Cam. That's what I'd like to see. I tell you that. Hutch one, why is Romano still on the team? Don't know. And there's people like, well, it's about money. They're talking about like $2 million here. What are you talking about money? This is not, I can't say enough, this is not the Taiwan Walker situation where he had $36 million plus still on the books for him. This is a guy on a 1-year deal. What are we doing? April, Ricky Bo was mad last night. I wish Topper had some. Yeah, Topper's never going to have that fire, unfortunately. But Ricky Bo, I could really, Ricky Bo, you could always tell is really mad when he's quiet. Like there were moments where he was like fiery, but there are other moments where like, let's just get this out of the way. I think I saw like the first thing I saw was him being like, Christopher Sanchez just didn't have it tonight. Like, just didn't have it tonight. He wasn't like, Christopher Sanchez didn't have it tonight. It was more like the tone of like when your parents say they're disappointed. They're not mad. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Ricky Bo had that kind of, what I saw was that kind of aura. Jason A, definitely a Kimbrel situation. Yeah, but the only thing with and you're right. I agree. Right now, it's a Kimbrel situation. As I stated earlier, Jason, it's also, like Kimbrel was at least an all-star that year. Like he was great in the first half of the season. And then I think he threw like 28 pitches in the All-Star game. Never the same. Eagles fan, love the show. Farzy always makes me. Oh, that's very nice. Weekdays easier. Thank you, Eagles fan. Appreciate that. Playing down. I can't say they're playing down to the Mets. The Mets are a good team. Tom, hey, what's up, cousin? Yeah, Penn. Hey, Penn, what's going on? I am also worried about Cooper not clearing waivers. And I don't think they keep 6 wide receivers. Chip, don't sleep on Mondon. I agree. I'm not going to sleep on Mondon. Just say the Cam bit. Oh, just like Fangio grunt will never get old to me. Have you guys signed Justin Simmons yet? Okay. We're all right there. That's where we are. Thank you. Thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are great as per usual. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the Farzy Show. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to Jacob Media. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, by the way, to the Seth Joyner Show YouTube channel. Good things coming. To that over there as well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Later today, Birds 365 right here on Jacob Media. Then, in case you're watching on Jacob Media, and Locked On 76ers later today on the Locked On Sixers YouTube channel. Also, Locked On Phillies postcast tonight following Phillies Mets game 2. You know what they need? You know what the Phillies need? They need some Jesus. Oh, I'm sorry, Jesus. They need some Jesus tonight. That's what they need. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Back with you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. This is the Farzy Show. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Farzy Show. Make sure you like and subscribe to Jacob Media. Make sure you like and subscribe to Locked On 76ers. Make sure you like and subscribe to Locked On Phillies. Oh, and Locked On Eagles as well. Me, Jason Martinez, and Harry Mays have you covered after roster cuts today. We're going live at 5 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Catch you guys tomorrow.